Hello and welcome back. I was going to do a video on the trees again today, but the meadow, there was areas that needed to be mowed badly, and the potatoes are up enough now to be mulched. So I've already mowed the meadow area. You didn't need to watch me do that. This will be another video about nature's mulch. I'm going to make a playlist called Nature's Mulch, because this would be the third video I done on mulching, and I know there's several more to come. Before I do that, I need to point something out to you. And that is this. This is the test bed, and the turnip that were growing there are all going to seed. Now, the question is why? Did they sprout in the fall and now they think they've gone through a winter and just going to seed? So I'm going to have to run this test again this fall, and instead of planting them November the 12th, I'll plant them last of November or maybe the 1st of December and see what happens. And I also need to point out my beet plants. They're flowering. It's just this one that's flowering yet. On July the 12th, I believe it is today. In the past, when it come time to do the mulching on the garden, I would mow the meadow until I got this bag full, and then I would bring the bag, pulling the grass out and mulching. I found that quite awkward, and especially when you get in the paths are only 2 feet wide. So today I've just done all my mowing, piled the grass here on this tarp, and I'm going to throw a bunch in this bucket and bring it around and do my mulching. I think I mentioned in the other video about setting seeds. Traditionally, the way of setting your potatoes is to set in drills wide enough apart to be able to rake soil in from either side and heal up your potatoes when it comes time, when they're up about this high. If I had done that, I would only get one row down the center of this bed, 3 feet. But what I've got done, I've got them set out into a kind of a square foot gardening method. It's 3 feet across, so I start 6 inches in. 1 foot and 1 foot gives me 3 potatoes, and then go down a foot, another 3 potatoes, giving me 3 rows of, I think it's 9 potatoes, so 27 sets in this one 3x10 bed, whereas the other way I would only get 9 sets. And the healing up is so the sun won't get on the tubers that are growing near the surface. But this is what the mulch is going to solve. And drop it down close. The potatoes are easier because, well, they're bigger, and each plant is 1 foot apart. Not all the potatoes will come up at the same time. So when I start this, I usually get some small potatoes, some small potato plants, and there's a couple right here. So I'll have to leave a depression in the mulch, make sure I don't bury them completely up. I'll just put mulch out around them. bother to pack it right in tight to those potatoes. I'll be mulching them 2 or 3 times during the season, so I'll let them grow now, and the next time I'm mulching they'll be growing up higher and I can put the mulch right in around them. One bed done, 7 to go. Now, this is a fairly thick layer of mulch. The length of my finger is about 2.5 inches there. And this is a bed I mulched last year, and I just left the mulch laying there. I think I had more than that actually. I'll zoom in. And there's just a little skim left laying on top now of the very dry material right on top. All the rest was packed down and eaten by the earthworms and bugs and whatever, and incorporated into this soil. I mulch all of my beds once the plants get up high enough, as soon as I can get meadow clippings, that is. And one of the reasons I put them across the bed and in row rather than the broadcast seeding, which would be much faster, is that now I can take some of the clippings and just put in between the rows quite easily. They're not quite high enough yet for me to be putting the mulch right in close, so I'm just going to put a little strip down the center. And that's how it would look when the beets and carrots and things are up just a couple of inches high. When you broadcast sow, on the other hand, you get this. This is, I think that's arugula. This is one of the beds I broadcast sowed with salad greens. This one is more sparse, so after a bit I might be able to throw in mulch where nothing is growing. And over here, as these lettuce plants get higher, larger, I'll thin them out and then I'll tuck mulching around them. But it's much more difficult. If I had them in rows, I'd be able to mulch them now. I got part way through the mulching and I thought about this pumpkin vine. It's growing and flowering. Don't know how well you're going to see that, but along here, all this is damaged, sun damage from when I transplanted it out. And I thought, I've heard of people putting soil up over the vine, and if my memory serves me correctly, the vine would actually send out roots. What I thought of is if I mulch around this now and cover all that sun damaged area, this vine may begin to really perk up right away with that area protected. So I'll put some underneath. just leaving the healthy part sticking out here on the end. And hopefully it takes right off now. There is another male flower bud there, one there, and the one I showed you on the other video, the female bud here. So I do have quite some time to actually get a pumpkin off of this vine yet. Just like that. Don't think you could see when I pointed them out, but there's the one male flower, the second one right there, and the female flower right there. Up here it's growing and it's healthy, so with that area back there now covered, hopefully it'll do just fine. I waited till the next morning to see if the grass clippings would be wilted enough so you can see the plants. Well, so this is what it's like when it's done. You can see how thickly the mulch is. That's bed number 1. Bed number 2. Bed number 3. And bed number 4. Here we are behind the shed. 5 and 6. This one and this one still has mostly really small plants in them, so I'm leaving it until the plants get another little bit taller, maybe next weekend. So that would be my 8 beds of potatoes. And here is the deep shade cabbage plants. They're doing really well. For reference sake, I'll let you know I had some more transplants of cole crops, and I put them here where it'll be, they get a lot more sun than in that last bed that I just showed you. And when they perk up now and get growing straight, I'll mulch them as well. Here's what the small seed, this is beets, look like when you have it mulched. You have to take a little bit in your hand at a time and just place it in between the rows. You can see a depression in the mulch between the where the row is. And I have 2 beds like that. I have a little bit of mulch left. I started to put it around the onions and shallots that are growing well. Just a little bit I have done here. I think I'm going to put the rest of the mulch now around the rest of these red spring onions, the shallots, and over in the far bed there is some shallots that's growing really well. So I think that's it for this video. When I redo the mulch later in the season, I will make another video, and so you can see how that progresses, this type of mulch throughout the season. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video, which I think will be about my trees. Thank you for watching.